Minister, the Department of Finance expected people to spend over €7 million a day on the Stay and Spend scheme. We now find that people are spending just €1 million a month. I want the €100 million underspend to date on the scheme to be used to underwrite a gift voucher guarantee for the tourism and hospitality sector, and I hope that you can look positively on this proposal, Minister.
Naughten. The Stay and Spend scheme provides tax relief by means of a tax credit at the rate of 20% on qualifying expenditure of up to €625 per person or €1,250 for a jointly assessed couple. It opened on the 1st of October 2020 and is scheduled to run until the 30th of April 2021. The tax credit is worth a maximum of €125 or €250 for a jointly assessed couple. The purpose of Stay and Spend is to provide targeted support to businesses within the hospitality sector whose operations are likely to be most affected by continued restrictions. As it's a demand-led scheme, it is difficult to forecast the cost to the Exchequer in 21 and 22. When it was announced in late July, it was estimated that the sum would involve an Exchequer cost of up to or about €270 million. This was an outside estimate that was based on up to 2.15 million individual taxpayers availing of the tax credit. Also, as I indicated at the time, the measure was introduced in anticipation that the economy would be on the way to being fully open and there would be mobility across our country. A number of weeks after we announced the scheme, that all changed. The scheme is due to operate until April of next year, but the flexibility exists for me to extend its operation next year beyond that date. As regards uptake and the eventual cost across next year and the year after, a lot will depend on how matters unfold in the weeks and months ahead. As of the 18th of November, the Revenue advised that the total qualifying expenditure recorded and receipts uploaded is €2.2 million, with a total tax credit of €440,000 due to taxpayers.
Minister, the objective behind this Stay and Spend scheme was to tap into the pent-up savings to save jobs in the tourism and hospitality sector. Now, Government, as you say, have set aside €140 million for the Stay and Spend scheme up to the 31st of December, and because of the lockdown that won't happen. But rather than losing this money out to the sector, Minister, I'm asking you to ring-fence the €100 million underspend to date and to use that to act as a guarantee for those who purchase gift vouchers across the hospitality sector between now and Christmas. Look, we've seen, Minister, iconic attractions such as Dublin Zoo being under threat of closure. And for many people, it will make them wary about purchasing gift vouchers for hotels, restaurants and tourist attractions, as they fear that they may not reopen. But the purchasing of gift vouchers would provide vital cash flow to those particular businesses, ensure that they remain open next year, and also, importantly, encourage people to holiday at home in 2021. So I'd ask you, Minister, really to look at this particular proposal.
I would remind the Deputy that, unfortunately, all the money that he's referring to or much of the money that he's referring to is money that we are borrowing. So if the Stay and Spend scheme ends up costing far less than I expected, much of that is due to reasons that are beyond my control. That means, in effect, that we are borrowing less and adding further debt onto this generation and generations to come. And its underperformance, for the reasons the House is aware of, is one of the reasons why I decided to introduce the lower VAT rate on the hospitality and service sector, precisely for the reasons that have been identified by Deputy Naughten. And I want to recognise the work that Deputy Naughten is doing, in particular, in promoting and advocating for the interests of tourism within the Midlands of our country, which I know is important to him. In relation to the extension of the scheme to include vouchers, It is something that I have considered, Deputy, but there is a lot of complexity and difficulty involved in doing this. But it is something that I will keep under review. But I do think much of what the Deputy is referring to will now be advanced by the lower VAT rate.
Dr. Naughten.
Minister, look, I welcome the fact that you're considering extending it beyond April, and that's positive. But, Minister, the reality is it's far better to be borrowing money to protect jobs in the tourism and hospitality sector than borrowing money to pay social welfare. So I'd ask you to again look at this, and look at this quite urgently. Minister, can I put a second point to you? Employers have the option of giving staff tax-free vouchers at the end of the year as a bonus of up to a limit of €500. As a once-off measure, would you look at increasing this to €750 on the condition that the vouchers are for local shops to encourage people to support local business this Christmas? Minister, it would help recognise the work done by many staff during a very difficult year, which has been the pandemic, and also, more importantly, it would help to protect the viability of many local businesses across this country.
And again, that's another very constructive suggestion from Deputy Naughten, and we did indeed evaluate what opportunities there were for supporting local spend, for supporting activity in our local shops, who, as Deputy Naughten has said, have had a very, very, very difficult year this year. And Deputy, it was in recognition of the challenges that our retailers faced that the government in the July jobs plan did bring in the lower VAT rate on the standard rate of VAT, which was really aimed, Deputy Naughten, as you know, at our small and medium-sized retailers, at trying to give them additional profitability and additional support if they need it to continue to have the chance of staying open in or reopening, or to continue to have the chance of employing those who they're currently employing. The reason, Deputy, why ultimately I didn't go with the additional tax support for the voucher that you're referring to is that I can't make that conditional on it being spent on businesses that are retail, that are Irish-owned and that are below a certain scale. If you do a voucher like that, it's for use in all retailers, regardless of how they're owned, and there's every possibility that a significant amount of money would then not be used in the way that Deputy Naughten is advocating.